today we're talking about another foundation, and we're talking about the Ordinary Colors Coverage Foundation. As you know, I have tried their serum foundation, or if maybe you don't know, but I'm gonna link it up here and also in the description box. I didn't particularly like their serum foundation, just a quick gloss over. I thought for the name serum foundation, it felt very chalky and dry and kind of had more coverage than I expected as well, which is not a bad thing. But when you add that to the chalkiness and cakiness, it kind of doesn't make sense that it's called a serum foundation. So that type of texture would be what I was expecting from the coverage foundation and not the serum foundation. I wanted the serum foundation to be more lightweight and hydrating, if that makes sense. All the serum foundations that I've tested in the past offer lower coverage and have a more hydrating basis. But anyway, a lot of people wanted me to still try the coverage foundation, and I've been told the coverage foundation is actually better than the serum foundation. I don't know if that's also based on kind of what you're expecting when you go into it, because I don't know, maybe if that was the texture of the coverage foundation, I wouldn't have been as shocked about it and as, you know, badly impressed about it. But definitely want to try it, so here we go. I'm gonna do a full face, and then I'm gonna do some check-ins. So I'm gonna come a little bit closer, and so I'm using the shade 1.0N, and this is their neutral fairish shade, I believe. I'm gonna do half of my face with a brush, half of my face with a beauty blender. And the brush I'm gonna use is the BareMinerals Luxe Performance brush, which has been my favorite lately. And yeah, let's just start with this side then. This is what it looks like. I'm just gonna put a little bit and then go over it. I know you guys say that I use a lot of foundation. So the reason I use a lot of foundation most of the times is because I'm just gonna say this outright so there's not a lot of complaining. If a foundation is telling me it's full coverage or buildable to full coverage, I'm gonna put as much as I can until I get that full coverage. If I don't ever get that full coverage, I can debunk that. If I get the full coverage but it's so cakey, of course it's gonna look less cakey if I apply less, but I'm gonna debunk it as a full coverage foundation anyway. So that's why I usually apply so much, because if it's full coverage, it's gotta cover my acne. Okay, just from first applying, I am pleasantly surprised about this. And it seems more dewy and less chalky than the serum foundation, which doesn't make any sense. So I'm just gonna go with extras on the most pigmented parts. As far as the shade goes, I don't remember at the time. I thought it was a perfect shade match at the time. I don't know if my face got a little bit paler, but this is a little bit darker than I am. It's not noticeable, I'd still wear it very easily, but it's a little, if you see like here, it's a little bit more dark. I actually still have the other foundation, so I'll just swatch them next to each other in a little while. It hasn't set yet, but still it has a very dewy, workable texture and finish. It doesn't appear to be cakey and still has that coverage. So this is maybe kind of the texture I expected from the serum foundation. I don't know why that one is so cakey. I don't get it. Does anyone feel the same way? Because I feel like the roles should have been switched. Okay, let's do the other side. I actually misplaced my beauty blender. I don't know where it is, but I have the Tarte blender, which in my opinion does the job as well. It's very similar to the beauty blender. Just a little bit to begin with. Okay, right off the bat, you can see that the first layer is gonna be so much sheerer with the blender than with a brush. It's almost like a tinted moisturizer. So I'm gonna go in to the more pigmented parts with an extra layer. And it is quite buildable, so you can definitely work that in. So I'm gonna go with this part to the more detailed parts where I just wanna pinpoint conceal, and around the nose as well. The texture and finish is really good. I'd say it's more buildable with a brush. I think they should switch the names, because the serum one should be what this one is like. It feels very hydrating and dewy. Can you see that dew? I'm coming up close now so you can see texture and finish and coverage wise, this is the part that has the most layers. So I am now gonna powder with my by Terry Hydra powder. This is the only powder I use because it's a loose translucent powder that sets everything while being still really hydrating. The only one that doesn't make my skin feel like tight and uncomfortable afterwards. And it lasts for like ages. It feels very comfortable and hydrating and not cakey at all. So I hope it holds out throughout the day very well, but right now I really am impressed. I think I didn't have any troubles with it. It still looks amazing. The only kind of minor thing is when I go over with blush or anything, the coverage here kind of suffers a little. I did go back with a beauty blender on top of it and then over with the blush again. But yeah, the coverage did suffer a little because, I don't know, it does slide off a little bit. It is, after powdering, it still has a dewiness to it, but it's not like transferable. But when you do brush and swirl, the coverage, the high coverage kind of goes away. This is serum, this is coverage, this is serum, this is coverage. So the shades are pretty much alike, really. It's breaking up a little in my most like driest, patchiest areas, which is around my mouth. But in the actual pimples, it's not too bad. It's not like halo patches or anything. It's just the whole area is kind of broken down a little bit. Overall, a little bit of the oils have come through. Not a lot. I mean, I'd still be really comfortable with this finish because I just think it's so luminous. It's so much better than the serum foundation. So if you have really oily skin, this might not be a foundation for you unless you powder heavily and maybe a lot throughout the day. And if you have dry skin, you might like the finish if you're not too patchy. I think if you're a little bit too patchy, it doesn't look patchy to begin with, but eventually throughout the day it does look a lot more patchy. As you can see here, this is the brush side, which looks a little worse than this side, but this still looks quite a lot patchy. It's not too bad, and I quite like the finish from afar. It's just a little broken down here, so. And finally, it's been the 8 hours. I think it's been like 8 hours and a half. There's been a bit more of oil production, not too much, something you could blot throughout the day or powder throughout the day, and the glow here is really cute as well. It does look a lot more broken up now, especially here as well. You can see my pores kind of dug into the foundation, and some of the coverage here as well is gone. And here it has worn off a little too. And it emphasizes pores a little bit as well. So when comparing the coverage foundation to the serum foundation, I still prefer the coverage foundation. And to be honest, I'd expect these two to be swapped in texture for the type of description they have, because I feel like the serum foundation should be the more hydrating one, but I feel like it's very cakey and chalky. And the coverage foundation should be the long-lasting coverage one that is usually, a coverage foundation is usually more long-wearing, even though they don't specify that. But it is actually very hydrating, kind of dewy and satiny. To be honest, I wouldn't wear the serum foundation ever. And the coverage foundation, I would wear if it's like an easy thing to do to just go out and come back again. I wouldn't wear this as a whole day type of foundation. It is an affordable foundation. If you have more of a normal skin type, you might get along with it. I always forget to say this in the beginning of foundations, but I have combination dehydrated skin type with acne, and it is quite dehydrated, so it has a lot of patches and unevenness in terms of skin texture. So that's pretty much it. If you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more. Don't forget to click the little bell button so you know every single time I'm uploading. Also, if you've tried these two foundations, let me know in the comments down below what you think of them. I'm dying to try the new foundations they're launching soon, which will be the watercolor foundations. But also tell me about other foundations that you guys would love me to test and do the 8-hour wear type of video. I definitely have a lot more in my stash right now to film, so also follow me on Instagram because I'm always asking what foundation you want me to go with next and presenting you the ones that I have. But you could also feel free to recommend foundations that either you love or you want to know what I think about them. So that's pretty much it. Bye!